When they got to the other side, they reached the region of the Gerasenes. As soon as Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came to meet him from the tombs. Now, the man lived in the tombs, and nobody was strong enough to subdue him, not even with chains, for he was often chained hand and foot. But he would pull the chains apart, break the irons with his feet. Nobody was strong enough to subdue him. Day and night, he wandered through the hills crying and screaming and cutting himself with stones. As soon as he saw Jesus, he ran to him and said, "What do you want with us, hey, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture us." Now, he said this because Jesus had said to him, "Come out of that man, you impure spirit." Then he'd asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion, for we are many. And he pleaded with Jesus not to drive him out of the region. Now, there was some pigs feeding on a nearby hillside, and the demons pleaded with Jesus to send us in the pigs. So Jesus gave them permission, and the demons jumped into the pigs. Now, the pigs, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the hill, jumped into the embankment, and were drowned. When those tending the pigs saw this with their own eyes, they ran to the nearby countrysides and villages and told everybody what they'd just seen. And when they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by an impure spirit sat clothed in his right mind. And they were terrified. And they pleaded with Jesus to leave the region. As Jesus was leaving, the man who had been possessed by an impure spirit pleaded to come with him. But Jesus would not allow it, instead saying, "Go to your own hometown and tell everybody what the Lord has done for you and how he has shown you mercy." So the man went to the Decapolis and told everybody what Jesus had done for him. And the people were amazed. When they came to the other side, a large crowd had gathered, and there was there a leading man of the synagogue by the name of Jairus. Upon seeing Jesus, he fell to his knees and pleaded earnestly, "My daughter is dying. Please come and lay your hands on her so that she may be healed and live." So Jesus went with him, and a large crowd were pressing in. And there was there a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered under the care of many a doctor, spent all she had, and instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she went up behind him in the crowd and touched his clothes, for she thought to herself, "If I can just touch his cloak, I will be healed." Immediately, she felt the bleeding stop, and within herself she was freed of her suffering. At once, Jesus felt power leave him, and turning to the crowds, he said, "Who just touched my clothes?" "You see all the people crowding in against you," the disciples said, "and yet you can ask, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus carried on, looking. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, trembling with fear, fell to her knees and told the whole story. "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Now go in peace and be freed of your suffering." As Jesus was still speaking, some men from Jairus' house came and said, "Your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore?" Overhearing their words, Jesus told Jairus, "Do not be afraid, simply believe." And then, leaving the crowds behind, he took Peter, James, and John with him. And when they entered the house of Jairus, they saw many people wailing. And Jesus said, "Why all the commotion? The girl is not dead, but asleep." But they just laughed at him. Seeing the people out, Jesus took the mother and father of the girl along with the disciples who were present. And he went to the girl, took her by the hand and said, "Talitha kum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." At once, the girl rose to her feet and began walking. She was 12 years old. They were all astonished at this. And Jesus gave them strict instructions to not tell anybody about this and to give the girl something to eat.